Well, Mini 60 will be heading out onto the circuit in a few moments' time. The category coming up with 13 laps and 16 kilometres worth of race distance. But before then, joining me in the commentary box, we've got a very special guest, Marco Parolin, joining us from the Parolin brand. Marco, great to have you in the commentary box. And this weekend has, well, I think from everyone's point of view, has been a great success. What would you say you would call it?
Well, first of all, it's my pleasure to be here with you, and happy Easter, everyone. It's a special Easter for us. We're spending it here in Cremona for the first round of the Champion of the Future Academy. It has been a couple of days of good racing. We had the opportunity to race both in dry and wet condition. We saw some great racing among these youngsters, and I'm actually looking forward to the final because the conditions now are half and half. So it will be very interesting to see how the things will develop.
Yes, certainly so. This weekend, obviously, a real shake-up, I think, for the Parolin team. Not just having to bring a team, but you're bringing a whole fleet of karts this weekend. Tell us the logistical side of that. It must have been a nightmare, but the team's worked really hard.
Well, I mean, we were trained after the successful campaign in Abu Dhabi last year, so it was... we started already a couple of months ahead of the event to prepare all the chassis and to work on the engines and make sure that we are able to provide to all the drivers high standard equipment with a very close performance. I would say almost identical for everyone, and give them the opportunity to compete on international karting venues across 2 continents with the top class equipment. So I think it's a great opportunity for young drivers from all over the world.
Yeah, certainly so. And the chassis that they're running on this weekend is very doubly named the Parolin Opportunity chassis. But yeah, running on the 60cc 12 horsepower TM Mini 3 engines as well. Minimum weight of 110 kilos. Kart and driver. And again, Marco, that's quite an important side of it, isn't it? The technical side, the weight that they've got to adhere to. Everything that goes on the chassis is all important, and the team's been working hard in the tent as well. How important has it been to really make sure you've got a good relationship with the drivers here in this paddock?
You know, the paddock is quite diverse because we have drivers from even overseas. Some of them are coming with their mechanics. Some other are helped and looked after by their parents, which is something good. So we're here to help everyone to make sure that they have a good experience, that they don't run into major issues. So obviously, being a field of 36, this week in 28, we can easily control everyone and make sure that things go smooth.
Yeah, certainly so. And I think it has gone smooth. The races that we saw earlier on, great racing, of course, indeed. In the wet conditions, photo finishes. I mean, for yourself, to see the chassis being able to work and being so competitively close like that, it must be a great feeling.
Yeah, honestly, I really enjoy the races of the Mini 60 this couple of days. We had the second heat before with a photo finish end. We had heat 2 yesterday with 6 drivers in less than half a second. So it was really fun to watch these young kids battling for the victory.
Yeah, it certainly was. And this is how the championship stands at the moment, with Alessandro Truchot leading that one at the moment with the 85, Albert Tam second with the 80, Palacio with the 69, Perico with the 68, Bruno Priam with the 68 as well, and Kostreva with the 46. And again, showing that the points there's 1 point separating 3 of the top 6 drivers. And again, over the course of yesterday and today, again, a great success, I think, for Parolin, for TM, for everyone in the Mini 60 category, was showing how close and competitive this championship will be going into future rounds. And with the space as well, there's definitely room for more drivers to join, isn't there?
For sure, for sure. I mean, the championship is it's well organized because we have 12 races out of 6 events. So there's a really big opportunity for everyone to be in the fight for the championship. The concept is quite similar to some of the feeder series like F2, F3. So the driver that will be more consistent and will make less mistake, I think it's the one that at the end of the series will celebrate.
Yeah, I think after the success of what we saw in Alpha San, I think bringing it now to Europe and then heading back to Alpha San at the end of the series as well, it being a championship that's split over, well, effectively 2 continents, starting in Europe and then heading to the Middle East for the second half, I think that really brings in a new era for lots more drivers as well. And that's why we're seeing such a diverse grid. And do you think as well for for the series, having such a diverse grid, as well as more females coming into the series as well. I feel, do you think that's benefited everyone?
For sure, for sure. I mean, it's a melting pot of drivers. It's a great opportunity for especially the drivers from overseas, that they have the opportunity to compete against some of the even top level drivers of Europe on the same level. And it's also good to have such intense female participation in the series. It's good to see that also the pink side of the sport is growing.
Yeah, definitely so. Marco, thank you so much for taking time out to join us in the commentary box. As you can see, the karts are making their way out onto the grid for the first of the finals. It is the Mini 16. Marco, I'm sure you'll be dying to watch this one from the sidelines, so we'll let you break away and you can enjoy this race. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. Enjoy the race.
Thank you. Well, Marco Parolin will head down to the circuit and enjoy the racing. I'm sure he will. Let's take you through the starting lineup for this one, though. It's Bruno Priam starting on pole position with Alessandro Touchot alongside. Row number 2 sees Juan Garciate and Nicolo Perico on row 2. What can they do? The Mexicans certainly looking on fine form today. Row number 3 sees Lucas Palacio and Augustin Felagoni. What can they do? It is a Italian-French row lockout. Back there, then you have Boaget Kostreva and Antoine Venet on row number 4. Kostreva with that inside row. Maxim Bobrajov and Elias Bollier, who turns 9 years old today. They will start on row number 5 and the top 10. Row 6 is Albert Tam, the winner of this final yesterday. What can he do from the 6th row of the grid? We'll have Alexander Shilo alongside. Aaron Mason and Jan Gargelik go from row 7 with Werner Guff and Sophie Guff, the brother-sister duo, starting on row number 8. Tony Cachaferro and Sebastian Keres, they round out row number 9. What can they do for the top 18 rows? Vincente Capella and Oscar Singh, they round out the top 20 on row 10. It's Oscar Hennock and Lorenzo Suketo on row 11. Michael Vino from Indonesia and Lena Samalanka from row 12. What can they do? Right at the back of the field, we've seen though, but with the track drying, it is still possible. Row 13, Koda Singh and Ava Lawrence. And again, Ava Lawrence, one of the Discover Your Drive karting drivers. Achilles Peruzzi and Maddox Mason starting shotgun at the back of the field. Row 14 in the top 28. They are going to have a lot of work ahead of them of this final. There you can see the drivers on the dummy grid ready to get going for this one, and the drivers already getting a quick briefing from our race director Martin Bean, who is down there with our top 2. All of the tension is now starting to build. For Mini 60, the final is upon us, and all of the qualifying heats leading up to this one have been interesting. Qualifying heat 1 earlier on saw Bruno Priam and Nicolo Perico take the win from Jan Garciate. What is going to happen in this one? Because heat 2, it was Alessandro Touchot, Juan Garciate, and Bruno Priam in that order. So they chopped and changed all the way throughout. But there you can see Bruno Priam and Alessandro Touchot just getting briefed by our race director, Martin Bean, who they all secure a front row lockout. Just behind, though, Juan Garciate as well. The Mexican has been on fine form today. Yesterday was a bit of a shaky day. In the final yesterday, it was an interesting one for Jan Garciate. He finished well down the order. He did gain places, but he finished in P11. So again, now he starts on the 3rd spot of the grid on the inside line. This is certainly going to make for an interesting race. Curious to see what's going to happen. The track conditions right now, half and half. Like Marco just alluded to while he was in here, the track down the main straight is damp. Into where, obviously, all the tyres have done their work in the corners, it is dry, but on the straights, it's very tricky. This is going to make for a half and half, but it's definitely slick tyres now, and that is what everyone has adorned. And you can see from this one, Bruno Priam with a brand new set of slicks. They have not used these slicks at all yet today. They have been on the wet tyres all the way throughout the morning warm-up, the qualifying heats, but now time for the final, and it's time for the slicks. This is going to make it a challenge for a lot of our drivers. They were used to the slicks yesterday. They can remember it from yesterday, but today their mind is in a mental state of wet conditions. Can they go from wet conditions earlier on to the dry conditions now? That's the ultimate test of a driver, and for our youngest drivers on the grid, it surely will be a big, big test. Alessandro Touchot starts this on the outside of row number 1. One would say the inside row has the benefits going in towards turn one, but again, with the track conditions that we have been having over the course of today, maybe the outside row might come into play this time around. That would be the ultimate question, wouldn't it? Juan Garcia going from the second row of the grid in P3. Again, a driver today who has really impressed. Second place in his second qualifying heat. It was third in his first qualifying heat. But yesterday certainly was a different day. The qualifying heat, he was well down in the order in P13. Don't get me wrong, he gained several positions in that one after not a great qualifying session yesterday. Qualifying heat 2 as well was also another one where it was just gaining those positions, really bumping up the order. But certainly for Juan Garcia today, if he's starting on this inside of row number 2, he could be a driver you need to keep a very close eye on in this final. He might come out on top here. So keep a close eye on the Mexican driver starting on that second row. Nicolo Perico as well. Well, what can we say about this driver? Really great performance over the course of today. Second in qualifying heat 1 after qualifying P3. Earlier on today. Qualifying heat 2, little bit of a struggle, dropped down 3 places into P6, but he secures a front row start, a second row start in this one on the outside. You can imagine tension really starting to build. Gloves going on, good to see. Dad helping out there, really nice to see. Third row of the grid, Lucas Palacio and Agustin Felagoni. They go from that row. And again, really good results from that third row of the grid. Lucas Palacio really shining today. Did drop a couple of positions in qualifying heat 1, but still finished within the top 10 with a P7 finish. Qualifying heat 2 was a little bit better, equaled his original starting spot, stayed P5, and he secures that third row start. That's the ultimate test, and again, he'll have that inside line. We've seen it all the way throughout this weekend, that the front 3 rows from their inside line all benefit here. So certainly really looking forward to seeing what is going to happen on this one. Augustin Felagoni starting this one on the outside of row number 3. The driver from France, again, has been a dominant performance. It was P4 in qualifying heat 2 earlier on. Qualifying heat 1 was a little further down the order in P9, but still 2 top 10 finishes. He is a driver you really do need to keep a very close eye on. Yesterday for Felagoni, where did he finish in his final? He was a little bit further down the order, P7. That's where he started, but today he's P6, so he's jumped up 1 position so far over yesterday and today. This is Błażej Kościewa, who starts this one on the inside of row number 4, the 831, again, who has been on it in these sessions. He finished P4 earlier on, gaining those 4 positions in qualifying heat 1. Qualifying heat 2 was a little bit tougher, only dropping down 1 place, finishing P9, but still in that top 10 all the way throughout. Well, these classes, of course, they're all on the same equipment over the course of this weekend. We were speaking to Marco Parolin. All of these drivers on the same equipment, the same engines, the same tyres, the same chassis. Everyone has the same. It is all down to talent, skill out there, and commitment as well to the championship. All of these drivers have done such a brilliant job over the course of yesterday and today, and it's been a real change-up since yesterday, and this man here, I think, is proof of that. Antoine Vernet, who was looking so quick yesterday, starting on the front row, had some trouble in his qualifying heats, but today has really, really come through. Qualifying heat 2 earlier on, gaining 6 places to finish P7 earlier on. In heat 1, it was a similar story, 7 positions gained. He finished in P6 earlier on. So, again, he's made some really, really good positions over the course of the qualifying heats. And down into this final now, it's all going to come down to it. He starts P8 here, the outside of row number 4. The clear the grid sign has gone up in the air. And there you can see some more of our female members of staff here. Our chief scrutineer, Patricia, out there really jumping into the opportunity of scrutineering here. And I think that opens up the doors to anyone who's watching from around the world. If you are interested in working in motorsport, it is possible. Noella Franco there as well. Deputy Race Director is working in constant communication with Martin Bean, our race director, and of course the ladies in race control, Joanna Falcao and Sarah Blanco. All of them have been working so hard over this weekend, as well as the fine marshals out on the circuit as well. They have been working so incredibly hard to make sure the drivers stay nice and safe and quickly reacting to any incidents that are out there, putting themselves in harm's way. We do thank the marshalling team a lot for their service out there on the track. A little further down the order, this driver here, Maxim Bobrozov, who starts on the 5th row of the grid in P9. He had a tough day yesterday, did Maxim, but today really trying to push himself through these qualifying heats. 12th place earlier on. Started in the same place he qualified, and yeah, he didn't really gain or lose any positions in that one. It was a bonus in the second race, though, earlier on, gaining 4 positions. He finished that one P8 for Maxim Bobrozov. So again, some good positions gained all the way throughout this. The 1-minute board is out. This race due to start at 3 o'clock, and we are bang on time here today at Cremona in Italy. It is round 1 of the Champions of the Future Academy program. After the inaugural round in November of last year at Alpha San, it became a very popular concept, and that is why all these grids have filled up nicely. But there is still space for any eagle-eyed viewers who are of age, who want to race in this championship. There is still space available. You can still enter into Valencia and the rest of the rounds as well. We head to Valencia next. We then head to Franciacorta in Italy, and then we head for 3 rounds in the UAE as well, visiting Dubai, Al Ain and Alpha San. So again, the championship really, really coming into its own in 2024. But right now, it is time for round 1 as we wait for the green light to show. It is Mini 60 time in its final time. Here they go as they make their way down in towards turn number 1 for their formation lap. Let's see who is going to come out on top for this one. One car not getting started there. Mechanics working hard, which is good to see. And the engine does fire up. I'm just trying to think who that was that didn't start up. It looked like that was around the 10th, 12th spot on the grid. Not quite sure who it was, though. But the engine fires up, and they make their way out into the track, which is good to see. Well, for the final, it all falls down to this. The Virtual Championship at the moment, Truchot at the top of it with 85 points. Ah, look at that. It's Alexander Bondarev who joins us here this weekend, who's keeping a close eye on everyone out on the circuit. Not too sure who he's watching. One would say he's probably watching the Ukrainian of Alexander Chilo, who's out there. But that would be a good show of support. But good to see Alexander Bondarev here at Cremona. Well, drivers making their way round the final couple of corners. They end their out lap, their start lap, and they'll start their formation lap now, going around for one more to really get the temperature into the tyres. These are brand new slick tyres they have got on today. This will be the one set that they've been allocated for the entire day. It's just they haven't used them yet today. This is the first time this class has gone out on the slick tyres today. This morning, it was soaking wet. There was no chance of going out on slicks. It was wet tyres all around. So this is the first time these drivers going out on slick tyres today will really show whether or not they can transition over from the wets to the slicks. There is our hard-working race control team. Head of race control, Joana Falcao from Portugal, and Sara Blanco from Spain, joining us and keeping a close eye in constant communication with our race control team out on circuit as well. Martin Bean on the starting gantry, waiting for starters' orders for this final. These finals slightly longer than the qualifying heats they had earlier on. 13 laps for the Mini 60 category, 15.7 kilometre race. It is a long old race for our youngest drivers here this weekend. For some of them, they're only just turning 9 years of age. It is their first time, for some of them, racing here at Cremona. For some of them, it's their first time racing here in Europe. But all of them have done a fantastic job over the course of the 2 days. But it all falls down to this one as we come to an end of round number 1. It is the final time for Mini 60 into the tram lines. It's Bruno Priam and it's Alessandro Truchot on the front row. Lights go green. Here we go. Down and towards turn 1. Great start from Bruno Priam with the inside row. Truchot to the outside. He slots down to about P4 as down the inside goes Juan Garciate and Lucas Palacio. 1, 2, 3 as they go through in towards the braking zone of turn 5. The concertina effect kicks in as they all try and find a gap. You can see Antoine Venet has gained a few positions in this one as he looks like he's just tucked in behind Nicolo Perico, who's there in the 840. Down into the braking zone of turn number 8, and a change for third place. Down the inside comes the 8, I think 31. Is that Błażej Kostrzewa, who's had a lightning start here and is up into P3. It is, but he's now down into P4 as diving down the inside comes Lucas Palacio on this early lap. And again, they go 3 wide on the exit. This is good to see, but it's not what they want to be doing, because now they're losing touch to the race leaders who are already breaking away. Bruno Priam leading the way, looks to be on fine form in this early stage of the race as he is breaking away from the rest of the field. Still line astern here as Antoine Venet goes defensive. He's battling fiercely against the drivers behind. He's got the 812 of Albert Tam, the winner of this one yesterday, really shining through the field here. He's up 4 places already. So it's Bruno Priam, Juan Garciate, who's at 1 place, Błażej Kostrzewa, who's there in 3rd, who's gained 4 places in this one, really pushing his way through. I think he's lost out to Truchot there as well. Yeah, so Truchot's back up into 3rd place. The 3rd place battle here really starting to kick off. Kostrzewa still there, Tam and Vignet all there, back down the inside. Here comes Albert Tam. Really, really strong performance from Albert Tam here this weekend. He has up so many positions in this early stage of the race. He is looking for a race win here, but he has got to be careful because Bruno Priam has broken away for 1.6 seconds from Juan Garciate, who is just ahead though. This is the battle, 2nd place downwards, wide there for Juan Garciate. He's still taking the wet racing line. That's the trouble that these drivers are having. They've just not got the confidence on those slick tyres yet, and he tumbles down the order. He loses 4 positions in the space of 2 corners there, and that's all down to taking the wet racing line still. So that is a big, big shame for Juan Garciate, as he still tries to hold on to it now. So it is Bruno Priam who leads the way from this battle here. It's Błażej Kostrzewa who is battling with Albert Tam, who Tam sends it down the inside. Alessandro Truchot follows through as well. Now they're up into 2nd and 3rd place. Kostrzewa down into 4th is going to have to deal with Antoine Venet, who is starting to close in. A big check over the shoulder there for Kostrzewa as he looks behind, and again you can see there the motions with the wheel. He's using the wheel a lot there, just trying to turn it in. The temperature not in the tyres just yet, as you can see them squealing. You can hear the squeals of the tyres really are at the edge of adhesion there. The rubber is still going down on the circuit after being soaking wet this morning. All the rubber from yesterday would have been washed away from the rain last night and in through today. There you can see your race leader, Bruno Priam. He's 2.2 seconds clear at the moment. Albert Tam is there in 2nd place. This is a superb drive for Albert Tam. He's gained 9 places, and he is showing a really strong performance here now. But can he close a 2-second gap over the next 10 laps? That is the ultimate question here. And for Bruno Priam, he needs to focus and keep his head down now, and so do these drivers here. If Alessandro Truchot decides he wants to go for 2nd place, it's over. Bruno Priam, he'll win this race. And right now, it all falls down to him. It's really down to Alessandro Truchot right now. If he goes to the overtake, they might have the time to close in, but if they just continue to battle, there will be no chance of closing in. They really need to think now. They really need to think. They need to think, work together, push each other along. Oh dear, and off the circuit and out of the race. It's the 815, it's Oscar Singh. He was the driver who didn't get started earlier on. That was the cut that stalled. He started 20th on the grid. Unfortunately, Oscar Singh is out of this race. That is a really big shame for the driver from Australia. There's another retirement there. Not sure who that is. A bit of a limp there. That could possibly be, I think that is Jan Garzielek in the 830, who was up into 12th place after gaining 2 places. Unfortunately, I think he's had an incident with Oscar Singh. They're around the same spot on the track. So that would be a big, big shame as they both fall down the order. Jan Garzielek and Oscar Singh out of this race. Well, the answer to the question that we asked earlier on between Albert Tam and Bruno Priam is, could he close that 2-second gap? The gap now is 1.4 seconds, but now it's going to change once more as back down the inside, Truchot goes through, Kostrzewa goes through, and so does Maxim Bobrojov. All of them going through, and now for Albert Tam, who was in second place, he tumbles down the order. He sees himself in P5, and they continue to battle away. Boys, you don't want to do this. You need to work together at this stage here, because you're going to lose touch with Bruno Priam. You closed the gap up so much. It was 1.4. What's it going to be now when they cross the line? Well, it's still 1.4. So amazingly, they've not lost too much time despite that battling. Well, they were very lucky that that happened. So Alessandro Truchot and Błażej Kostreva, they now are second and third and are on the hunt now towards Bruno Priam in the race lead. The gap still 1.4. It comes down to 1.1. That's 3/10 out of the lead already. And we do call this in the mini category, you know, 8 wheels works better than 4. You've got the bump draft, you've got the slipstream that comes into effect in these dry conditions, and that's what we're starting to see now. There's more retirements out on the circuit as well. Looks like Sebastian Keres has also retired. The driver from Estonia not finishing this race. Big shame as we go on to lap 7 now of this race. The sun shining once more. The track is dry. It is beautiful racing conditions now. Air temp up to 18 degrees. As we go racing, gap down to 0.6 of a second. Bruno Priam is beginning to come under pressure now. Truchot and Kostreva is right there, second and third place as they make their way through the championship. It is still Truchot who leads the championship, but only by a handful of points from Bruno Priam, who currently leads the way. Albert Tam is third still. He's dropped down a little bit as he's there in P5. But look at this now, the gap has disappeared. Bruno Priam is in a bit of bother here as he tries to now defend this race lead, but we're only half race distance. This is going to be the longest defense of his life here, and already he's doing a good job of holding that inside line, preventing Truchot to send it down the inside, but they're going to need to watch the slipstream here. If Truchot goes for the move, Kostreva is going to follow. Big check over the shoulder. No, they think against it. They stay behind. So it is still 1, 2, 3. Bruno Priam, but now he goes for the move. Down the inside, Kostreva follows as well. And now Bruno Priam is down into third place. There is nothing he could do there whatsoever. He will have to concede the spots. And now the question is can he maintain the pace that these two have got? Truchot and Kostreva are just breaking away now at the front. There's no one that's able to match their pace. But the question is that they're not the fastest drivers out in circuit. It's Albert Tam who's the fastest driver out there. The driver who was in second place earlier on might have been in this very position if they hadn't gone for the overtake earlier on, which put them here. Truchot knew exactly what he was doing. He thought, right, I'm going to close in faster than you. And he has done just that while he's taken the lead. Crucially, Bruno Priam has not dropped off that rear bumper. He has stayed there. We have still got a group of 3 here on this lap. All 3 of them showing great performance over the course of this weekend. But the question is now, can Albert Tam close in on these 3? Is the pace going to disappear? And I think the answer to that could be yes. It was 1.6. It's still 1.6 the gap. Albert Tam, you can see him there just in the background with Maxim Bobrojov and Nicolo Perico, who has just set the fastest lap of the race as well, reminder. They are closing in just in the background. Despite that, the gap still maintaining a similar pace. All of these drivers right now really are just on, they're in identical equipment. They've got the same tyres. They're all on brand new slicks at the start of this one. They were using wets all the way throughout the start of this weekend. And today, of course, on the same chassis. They're on the parallel opportunities. They've got the same engines, the TM engine, the Mini 3, 12 brake horsepower. They've all got the same equipment, part of this arrive and drive concept. The only thing that's different is the driver. That is the only difference that these drivers have got. And right now, that's why we're seeing such close racing. Truchot, Kostreva, Bruno, 1, 2, 3. But Bobrojov is closing in. Albert Tam is closing in. We could have a 5-car battle for the race lead here. Bruno is holding on to these top 3. He's got about a cart's length between them. Truchot and Kostreva are doing everything they need to do here to try and break away from the rest of the field, and they're doing a fabulous job of that one. both of them gaining positions. Truchot, after starting on the front row, up into the race lead. Kostieva, who started on the 4th row of the grid. Remember that one. The Polish driver started P7. This is a brilliant, brilliant performance from the top two. From Bruno Priam as well. Today has been his day. Yesterday wasn't the day for Bruno Priam. 5th place in that final yesterday. Right now, really showing some fantastic skill today. There, you can see Albert Tam. Oh, he knows he's closing in as well. He's giving the hand gestures to Maxim Bobrojov, who's not managing to stick with them, but he is closing in. And if Kostreva goes for the move, they will all be in one big pack, and we'll have 5 cars battling for the lead. And he is going to go for the move before the final lap board even gets shown. Błażej Kostreva is in the lead of this one, but Alessandro Truchot back down the inside, retakes the lead. Here comes Bruno Priam, here comes Albert Tam back into the inside of turn number 1, and he gets up into 3rd place. Błażej Kostreva is down into P4, as now comes Maxim Bobrojov, and he makes contact, and out of the race he goes. He's still in this one, but he's tumbled down the order. That's not worked out at all, and Maxim Bobrojov falls down the order. That's his chance for a top 3 over. Truchot, Bruno and Tam is all that remains in the top 3, but it is Truchot and Bruno who are line astern going into the snail section on this final lap. Into the turn 9 they go, through turn 10, into the hairpin. Defensive will go Truchot. Bruno will get the inside line. He's going to try and block past him. Watch for the switchback here. He's not going to get it. He's going to hang him around the outside. It's Alessandro Truchot. He won. He came 2nd yesterday. Is he going to win today? It's going to be a photo finish. It's side by side. Who's going to get it in round 2? It's going to be Truchot from Priam Bruno. Alessandro Truchot, 2nd place yesterday. And it's a race win today in the final. The driver from Italy taking a dominant performance here this weekend, starting on the front row in this final. It's Alessandro Truchot on the top spot. Bruno Priam finishes 2nd place from the great recovery drive there for Albert Tam. 8 positions gained. He flew through that field to gain those positions. He was up to P2 at one point. But talk about a photo finish. 0.017 seconds across the line. For some of our drivers, though, it's not ended well. There, Vincente Capella, unfortunately, on that final lap. Oh, there you go. He's saying what happened there. He went down the inside. Well, here it is at the end of that final. It's Alessandro Truchot, it's Bruno Priam, and it's Albert Tam. 1, 2, 3. A look then at the Mini 60, the full classifications at the end of that one. Nicolo Perico takes 4th place from Maxim Bobrojov. Błażej Kostreva finishes in P6 from Vincente Capella. Antoine Vinet finishes in 8th place from Augustin Felagoni from France in 9th. Aaron Mason, a brilliant drive there. 3 places gained to finish in the top 10 from Lucas Palacio and Lorenzo Zucchetto. Achilles Peruzzi and Sophie Guff, they round out the top 14, with Michael Vino rounding out the top 15. 8 positions gained for Achilles Peruzzi. It was 14 positions gained for Zucchetto. 10 positions gained. Brilliant racing all the way throughout. Ava Lawrence finishing an impressive 16th place, gaining those 10 positions. That was a superb drive for Ava Lawrence in the treble 8. Coda Singh finishing in 17th after gaining 8 positions from Elias Bouler. Then it is Juan Galtiase, unfortunately, from the 2nd row of the grid, tumbled down that order, finishing in P19. A big, big shame for the Mexican driver who was looking so strong in the early stages of today. Well, a look at the highlights from that one. And again, it was initially a good start for Juan Galtiase. He finished further down the order. He was up into 2nd place in the early stages, instantly defending there, hugging that inside line. Bruno Priam, though, did break away. And it was at this point that we thought that, well, he'd opened up a 2-second lead. We thought he was going to break away and will just disappear from the rest of the field. Racing came in thick and fast. Błażej Kostreva just gaining those positions. He was up into P3 in the early stages. Would lose out, though, to it as Lucas Palacio would send it down the inside. He would get up into 3rd. And then it would be the 814 of Alessandro Touchard who would throw back the move down the inside. But again, both of them losing out to Kostreva, who would get back up into that second place spot. Further down the order, Antoine Venet started to come back into the fray, had Albert Tam alongside. Tam certainly showing some great pace over the course of the day, really showing that the young driver from Switzerland was not just a fluke yesterday in his final, really showing some great performance here, getting up into P2 in the early stages of this race. Alessandro Touchard, though, certainly pushing hard, though. The first of the retirements, unfortunately, for Oscar Singh in the 815, retiring at the exit of turn number 1. Would not be the result he would have wanted. We also saw Jan Gazielek also retire from the race. Werner Guth was also a retirement, actually, on the opening lap, the driver from Germany, who started alongside his sister Sophie Guth on the 8th row of the grid. Certainly had a challenging race. This was the change then at the front. This is when Truchot and Kostreva got the move done into first and second. Bruno Priam dropping down to third place at that point. It was only when they started to battle into the last stages of the race. This is what brought everyone back into the fray here. So Truchot, Bruno, Tam, Brico, Bobrojov, Kostreva, all in this battle here. But it would go the way of Alessandro Touchard. He would hold on to the lead. There was nothing Bruno Priam could do despite his best efforts. Albert Tam doing what he could there, but for Maxim Bobrojov, the race not ending the way he wanted to, going up and over that rear bumper there through turn number 3. Not be the way he wanted to end the race. The final attempt here for Bruno Priam to get down the inside would be a run to the line, though. It was very close, 0.017 seconds between these top two. An absolute photo finish for the two drivers. But Alessandro Touchard just gets the win, and he knew it across the line.
Give it up for your top 3 in the Mini 60 category. Please welcome onto the podium Marco Parolin to present the top 3 winners' trophies. Firstly, to third place, Albert Tam. We now present the second place trophy to Belgium's Bruno Priam. And finally, the winner's trophy for Italy. Please give it up. Your race winner in Mini 60, it's Alessandro Touchard. Brilliant stuff. Drivers hold those trophies nice and high up in the air, over the heads. Nice big smiles for the photographers out there. Nice big grins. Perfect stuff. And if you'd all like to jump onto that top spot of the podium, guys, everyone up on that top spot, trophies down. Marco joined them as well. And those nice big smiles once again to all the photographers down there watching from all over the world. What a final it was. But I'm sure this is always your favorite part of the weekend, the bottles of champagne. Alessandro, what a day today. Brilliant results for yourself. You're coming out on top after a tricky day yesterday. How do you feel?
Yeah, yesterday wasn't the best luck for me. So to be on the top step today was very good. Qualifying wasn't that good, P4. And we just tried to do our best we could in the heats to get the best position we could in the final. And then we just went from there.
Looking forward to Valencia?
Yeah, super excited.
Excellent. Let's see what you can do there. Congratulations right now. Again, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for your top 3 in Mini 60.